Welcome to the Money Mastermind Show. Let's talk money.
And welcome to the Money Mastermind Show. Tonight, we are asking, will cutting your daily coffee and other small things make you a millionaire? Joining us tonight is our old friend and coffee expert, Matt Giovanisci from RoastyCoffee.com, as well as Stephanie Halligan of ArtToSelf.com. Welcome back to the show, guys. Glad to have you both here. And, of course, we have the members of the... that would have been the part where you said, hi, glad to be here. But that's okay.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, there you go. So you guys have been on the show so much, it's just like, yeah, whatever. And of course, we have the members of the Money Mastermind Show. We have Miranda Marquit of PlantingMoneySeeds.com, Peter Anderson of Bible Money Matters, Tom Drake of the Canadian Finance Blog, and we normally have Kyle Prevost of YoungandThrifty.ca, but he couldn't make tonight's show. And I am Glenn Craig of Free From Broke. And we have a lot of people on our show, because that's a lot to read. But anyway, before we start, I want to direct you to our event page. If you're watching this live, head on over there, and we have a Q&A app. We haven't had a lot of questions lately, so we want to get some questions. If you have any questions about cutting out coffee or any of these small things, and if it'll make you a millionaire, drop your question there, and we'll try to answer it here. So, back to our question. Now, we've all heard about a popular book that talks about cutting out your daily coffee or latte in order to get ahead financially. So, I think the big question is, will cutting coffee make you a millionaire?
Wait, what's this popular book? 50 Shades of Grey? Is that what they tell you?
It's called the Automatic Millionaire by David Bach. Is the book?
I read that book.
He calls it the Latte Factor.
Remember, It's trademarked. There should be a little TM after that in your mind when you say Latte Factor. Yeah.
Yep.
Too much. I got that book when I moved into my condo. The real estate company actually gave me a copy of the Automatic Millionaire, but I had already had a copy. And that's the end of that story. That's how that works.
So then you have two? I don't know.
Yeah, I have two copies of the Automatic Millionaire. They're in my kitchen. I don't know why they're in my kitchen, but they are.
Next to your coffee maker?
Next to my blade grinder, which I no longer use because blade grinders are evil, and they chop up the beans inconsistently, and they also heat up the beans.
It's all about the burr.
Burr grinders only.
Yeah.
But that doesn't quite answer our question.
So is the question directed to me? Does cutting out coffee make you a millionaire?
Directed to any of us that wants to answer. It's a collective whole.
No. The answer is
it is a collective whole, Matt. We all have a say here.
Cutting out coffee, no. Because I think, well, first of all, adding coffee makes you more productive. I mean, clearly.
Right.
So that will make you more money. It depends on what kind of coffee you're buying. If you're going to Starbucks and buying like the peppermint mochas, which are like, I think $12 now. I could be wrong depending on where you live. But they're stupid. They're dumb, and they're full of sugar, and they're full of whipped cream, lots of whipped cream and peppermint chunks. That's not coffee. That's not. That's a coffee cocktail. It's a coffee monstrosity.
What makes that any lesser? Someone is happy drinking that coffee, and they might be more productive.
No, you know what?
Happier.
That's fine. They can have that coffee, and
it actually sounds kind of yummy.
Yeah, they can be super happy when they're in the hospital getting their foot chopped off because they have type 2 diabetes. This is the problem. I think no. I think cutting out this Latte Factor is kind of like it's not supposed to be taken literally, right? It's not like you can say if you cut out lattes in your life, you can save that $5 a day on whatever. There's a lot worse things than lattes. There's a lot worse things than coffee habits. I mean, I think he's just using that as sort of like, well, the majority of the people of the world drink coffee. That's a good thing you can cut out. You could save $5 a day, whatever the case may be. But how does that factor into somebody who doesn't drink coffee or somebody who doesn't go to Starbucks and makes their coffee at home? It's just more of like a funny way to, you know, teach you to pay yourself first. It's just a funny, you know, way to get into the coffee community and like strike in the hearts of like people everywhere, so that way you can market your Automatic Millionaire crappy paperback. You get, you know, people give it to you when you buy a house book.
I want to get into that. That sounds interesting. But yeah. So the idea behind all of this, I mean, what is that really? Is it that we don't like drinking our daily latte? Is it that because they're just so expensive, or like, is there something else behind what we're trying to get at here?
Well, shouldn't it be? I mean, if you're gonna name a factor, if you're gonna trademark a factor, shouldn't it be like the refinance your mortgage factor or the negotiate your salary factor? Like the things that actually earn you lots more money and you can become a millionaire by doing them once instead of saving $3 a day. I feel like the latte factor, it's such small peanuts. It's not going to get you rich. Nobody wrote a book about becoming a millionaire because they like
an automatic millionaire.
Right.
The point of it's not to get nickel and dimes, to sort of lose all your money. It's not truly about just coffee. So
yeah,
calm
they
down,
should
Matt.
Yeah, I know.
It could be like, cigarettes or fast food or other great stuff like that. So.
The lottery.
Oh,
I mean, there's a ton of things. Yeah,
but you could win.
You totally can't win unless you play.
Or it's like a voluntary tax.
Yeah, it's a fool's tax.
It's I want to pay more into the education system, but just don't call it an education tax.
That's not where it goes, though. We all know that.
No, I think the latte factor is it's more about being conscious about where you're spending your money. You know, it's about thinking about all those small expenses that we all have every day, little places where our money just keeps leaking out and leaking out. You know, it's a $5 coffee here. You know, it's $10 out for lunch every day. It's a whole bunch of different places, and it can be different for everybody. You know, somebody might be cigarettes, like Tom said, or for me, it's eating out. I have a hard time not eating out. So I think the idea is more about being intentional about where you're spending your money and thinking about, you know, is this something I want to be doing every day, or maybe I can cut back to eating out once or twice a week instead and start saving the rest of that money.
Yeah,
because over time, that's going to add up.
Right? That's if you're having an issue. Like, if you're not having an issue, then, you know, have a latte. If you enjoy lattes, first of all, latte. I don't even want to use the latte factor because lattes are an American tradition that we made up. It's not even a true like espresso drink. So let's call it a cappuccino factor or something that's actually real. And I think you know, it's if you have a problem, then I think there's worse problems than drinking coffee. I think there's, like you said, like the lottery, fast food, cigarettes, pornography. Did
Porn's
I say?
Free.
Oh, right. No, now it is. I was thinking when I was 18.
Well, it could still be a problem. It's sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of other problems, and you know, coffee isn't expensive. It's the lattes from Starbucks that are expensive, and I know that's where it comes from. Like, that's where this whole like latte factor comes from, is like buying $4, $5 lattes at Starbucks. But drinking coffee at home, making your own lattes at home if you want to, isn't $5 a day. It's like 50 cents a day, depending on what kind of coffee and what kind of milk you're buying and what kind of machine you own and factoring all that stuff in. So I understand the idea of being like of saving all your nickels and dimes. That's why I use Acorns, which is like saving all my stuff that I would have put into, you know, buying lattes, but like secretly behind my back. So I don't know. I think for me, I never resonated with that. And when I read I Will Teach You to Be Rich, he's like so anti, you know, so he's so anti latte factor that I was like, yeah, Ramit, I love that, you know. So I totally resonated with that because I like coffee, and no, I don't like that factor.
So let's put it this way. So you're saying, you know, if your income's enough and you're taking care of your finances, you could become a millionaire in other ways. There's other places you could look for. But when is it a good idea for you to go, you know what, I got to look at where my spending's going. You know, what can I pick to take some of the fluff out?
Well, Ramit's book's really good at saying, like, pick your top 3 things that, like, top 3 priorities. If you love coffee and you love shoes and you need to pay down debt, or if you love, like, you know, to travel and eating out and, like, one more thing, great. Like, earn enough money to buy those things and then scrimp as much as possible on the rest. Like, be extremely frugal on everything else in your life, but at least make it a priority, make it intentional, so that if you want to spend whatever, $200 a month on coffee, go for it, but you've made a choice that you're not going to spend money on anything else.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's other things besides coffee in your life that you are wasting money on. I mean, if you enjoy coffee as much as I do, that's not a waste. That makes me a happy person every morning, and then I drink it again, and then it makes me a happy person at night. So
10 minutes later.
Yeah, I'm just constantly happy, constantly caffeinated. But there are some other things that I, you know, don't like spending my money on. Like, I don't know, I don't like spending my money on gas, even though it's like relatively cheap right now, but it still kind of irks me. I don't like getting tickets in my car, so maybe I should stop driving. I think that's what it is. There's a lot of
driving factor.
Yeah, and there's like things I don't value. Like, I'm just trying to think. I actually, clothes. Yeah, clothes is a good one. I'm wearing a Old Navy $20 hoodie. It's like, I don't value it, so I don't waste my money on it, and I've made that decision. So I'm going to spend money on a really, really, really good coffee drink, and I'm not going to buy a $100 sock.
One
So you
sock?
think
They have $100 socks.
Just one sock.
Uno saco. Spanish, just one sock.
it comes like already half pre-lost. It's so elite.
It's hand-stitched in Vietnam.
So what you're
Small
saying,
children,
what I'm hearing is it's about finding value and being conscious of your spending and where you actually want your money to go, and putting your money where your values are, and then maybe looking at other things and going, maybe that's what I could cut out. So
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a latte or cappuccino, whatever it is, but if there are things that's in maybe your daily spending that you could go, you know what, I love this, but that part can maybe go.
Well, if you're drinking a latte just for the caffeine part, because, like, you know, I hate coffee, but I need it to stay awake, you're drinking coffee for the wrong reason, and it's a bad habit, and you should stop now. And that's probably bad. You don't need to spend $5. They make, like, those stupid-ass 5-hour energy drinks that are like 50 cents a pop. That'll give you diabetes just as much as the peppermint latte. So,
Yeah, but that might explode your heart too.
you can tell. I'm very against sugar right now. Cheers.
Yeah, I think Matt makes a good point, though. You know, as far as figuring out what things you care about and which things you don't care about. You know, even if you do love your coffee, you don't have to buy the most expensive coffee in the world. You know, you don't have to go out and buy the coffee that the mountain cat is pooping out its rear end, and then, you know, what kind of coffee is that? I forget.
I don't know, but
Yeah, it's really high-end coffee.
I've heard of that.
Very
coffee.
good.
they do it with
Sounds
elephants
delicious.
too.
Buy the coffee that's cheaper, that's still good coffee. You know, it's not a $5 or $6 coffee at Starbucks, but it's 50 cents or $1 to make it at home. Whatever.
You know, I found a good hack for that. The cat ingestion coffee. I have a dog, and I just feed him coffee beans. By the way,
Somehow I think
You
that
know
hack,
what, though?
like you end up like really kind of having to do a lot more than just roasting the beans there.
don't do it.
There's some like residual costs there, unintended consequences perhaps.
Yeah.
In that road there.
Yeah, like euthanation bees.
Oh,
So I mean, I know, and you know, we're picking on Starbucks only because there's like one everywhere. You know, it could be any. There are other coffee chains that actually aren't up to par with them. So
How do you say? Was it Pret-a-Manger?
Pret a manger.
Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't speak.
no clue.
You don't
Lebanese.
speak restaurant?
This
I was
episode
thinking more
has gone,
D&D,
off
but,
the rails.
Well, So I know that I've gone through, my credit card bills, and every now and then I'm like, wow, I did actually spend a significant amount on coffee this month. And it is a little surprising sometimes because, and here's maybe the point, if you're not paying, let's say, cash, it can be very easy to just put things on there. So when you're standing in line, it may not be just that latte. You got a buddy with you for lunch. It's like, hey, what do you want? I got it. It's on me. It's because I'm putting on my gold card or whatever. So that $5 isn't $5. That $5 is $10, right?
Yeah.
And maybe on the weekends you're going a few more times, and you're not getting that little coffee. You're getting that big giant iced Acalacawino, whatever it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Like $6-7.
Peppermint Acalac.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're buying that espresso salt cookie. You're buying the kombucha that's made locally. That's like $10 a bottle. This is all actual
Real
events
life.
that we've done. The one thing that I do, and this is not for everyone, but it does work. I put everything on my business credit card, and every time I go to a coffee shop, it's a write-off. So, because I work there.
Check with your tax advisor on that.
Yeah, I think you're in a bit of a
H&R Block, Mr. Block.
No, that's our legal disclaimer.
Situation there. In that
This is not tax advice.
Yeah, you kind of work on the road a bit, and you write about coffee, so you kind of have some arguments there. I don't think.
I didn't even think of that part. I was just.
Oh man, you're missing out. But I think for the average person, though, it's an idea of a good place to start. Where are these recurring expenses that maybe you're not realizing they're eating up a lot of your budget?
For me, when I had a job, I realized very late in the game that I was spending over $10 a day on lunch, and I was getting salad. It wasn't like I was getting, a steak every day. It was, and I was just like that. Wow, that adds up to that's like $50 a week. And then you look at that's like $200 a month. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money. Like that's a car payment, And then I tried bringing my own lunch to work, and I realized that I didn't like eating soggy salad in a Tupperware container every day. And then I decided that, actually I did like going and getting $10 salads. So I think what you have to do is in that particular scenario is, look at what you're spending your money on, try an alternative. If the alternative is working for you, great. And you do one thing at a time. You don't try to change everything. You don't look at all your expenses, all your things, and you try to do it all at once and completely reform your life so that your day looks completely different than it did the day before. You do one change. So for me, maybe I tried switching lunch. I tried bringing my own lunch. It didn't work, and I didn't like it. And I tried it. You give yourself a good week, 2 weeks maybe. And I was just like, I'm not feeling this. I like getting out of the office. I like the salad that's at the salad bar down the street. So great. Maybe you do the same thing with coffee. Maybe you start, instead of going to Starbucks every day, maybe that's your habit. You buy some really good beans. You invest in a French press or something, and you start making your coffee at home. And it turns out maybe you like that. Maybe that's what you're into. And you just try that one thing, and then all of a sudden, you are, now you're saving $5 a day where you weren't before. But I think it's taking one thing at a time, one habit, and let's say it is the latte habit, and just sort of changing it for a week, and just giving yourself that out. Give yourself I'm only gonna do this for 1 week, see what happens, and then you do it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, the coffee I make at home is way better than the Starbucks crap, so I'm just gonna stick with that, and all of a sudden there you go, and then kind of just move on from there.
Now, why are you saying just one thing?
Because your brain can't do multiple things. If you do that drastic change like that, it's sort of like dieting. You can't just cut out all the food you've ever eaten before and just I'm going to only eat kale from now on for the whole day, and I'm going to work out. I'm going to bench press 300 pounds, and I'm going to cardio for 6 hours. And you can't do that. You're going to give up within 2 minutes of the cardio because cardio sucks. So you can't. Just give yourself the one thing to change, and then give yourself an out. And I don't necessarily think that's good with everything, but with the money thing, I think it is, because I think, first of all, it allows you to look at something different. It allows you to just change perspective in your life. And if you change your complete perspective, you're going to go back to your old habits quickly. But if you change one little thing, like, you know, making coffee at home rather than going to Starbucks, or bringing your own lunch instead of going out to lunch, or maybe instead of going out drinking every night, if that's one of your things, you know, you have potlucks at home, or you know, get a 6-pack and invite your friends over. Like, just try that a few times. You're like, wow, this is actually a lot more fun, or, you know, this is a lot, the coffee that I make at home is better, or the salad that I make at home is better, or the, you know, I don't know, there's a bunch of things, but I think one thing at a time, so that you don't overload yourself with, you know, this habit change.
And then you avoid that pendulum swing, like the feast or famine, like you're totally restricting your entire diet, and then all of a sudden you have just a breakdown one day and you just go splurge.
Yeah, you go to Starbucks and you spend $40,000 and you just drink your lattes so you explode and your both feet come off. So much sugar.
And you're blonde.
Matt,
and you're blind. And
you're poor.
And you're poor now.
Matt, I think a big thing, though, like when you mentioned the salad, is that you actually caught on that it adds up. And I think that's a big part of the latte factor, is that there's too many people that say, oh, it's just $5. And they never really look at it. Like when I started using Mint a few years back, I sort of realized that there's some things I was spending on that they just added up to so much more than you kind of realize when you're making those little small purchases.
But that's why I like Acorns, because Acorns is one of those apps that I don't keep on my phone. It's like kind of like hidden in a folder somewhere, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the app. I'm sure you are at this point, right?
Yep. You can let our audience know about what they do.
All right, so basically Acorns just, and other companies do this as well, but they take, let's say you go to Starbucks and you spend $5.25 on a latte, which is insane, by the way. They take that 75 cents they round it up, that 75 cents, and they deposit it into an investment account for you. And you can control like what, you know, they're pretty broad investment accounts, but the idea is that they're taking, you know, they're just rounding up all of your normal spend. So again, if you go to the store and you buy, I don't know, whatever you buy, a pack of gum. I don't know, how much is a pack of gum nowadays? You spend
$3.25.
$5, $12.
Yeah, $12. I don't know.
Let's just go with 12.
Yeah, so it's $12.99. They'll take that 1 cent and they'll round it up to 13, and they'll take that 1 cent and put it into an investment account for you. And so I've had this app for maybe 6 months. It hasn't been long, but it's still 6 months is not it's not a short time frame either, depending on, you know, certain factors. So I looked at my account the other day. I had $260 in there, which sounds like nothing, but I don't really spend all that much money, and that's my money. That's just money that like was just rounded up. And when you look at like, well, wow, I was able to save $260 over the course of 6 months, which is not a ton of money, but it's money. It's savings. It's mine, and it's being invested. And
It's
like, wow,
painless money.
yeah, that's a vacation. You know, that's I don't know how many lattes that is. I
think that's kind of the power of the latte factors. You know, small amounts add up to a lot of money over time when you're spending it, but it works in the reverse too. You know, small amounts saving or investing, whatever, add up over time too. Yeah. I'm actually doing something on my site right now with a different company called Digit, and basically it's a savings account. But what they do is they just withdraw small amounts from your account, your checking account that you have linked, and they're withdrawing that into the savings account every once in a while. So here's $5 here, $10 there, and over time the amount in the savings account kind of builds up. So it's amounts that you really don't miss, and they guarantee that they're not going to overdraw your account.
Is that
Digit.co?
Yeah.
Yes, Digit.co.
Who owns that?
Mr. Digit.
Well, they got an infusion of cash not too long ago.
Well, they just tweeted me about my coffee site today.
Interesting.
They said they were friends with me. I don't know who's behind Digit.co.
That's an episode, another episode.
All you have to do is transfer $1,000 to the Nigerian prince, and you can be best friends forever.
But no, I think
not to say that they aren't legitimate.
Right. No, but I think.
I was going to say.
Maybe the fact that
I was going to say with the Digit, I have this digit savings account. I've had it for 2 months now, and it pulls out these regular amounts and saves and saves. Over 2 months now, I've been able to take, I think, $630 into this savings account, and then I've taken that money and invested it in a Roth IRA with wisebanyan.com, which is one of these robo-advisors where you can get a Roth IRA, and they'll basically invest you in index funds at no cost to you. So it's kind of another easy way to take those small amounts that you're not going to miss and save them and invest them. Kind of the same idea with the Latte Factor, where you're not really missing $5 at a time and you're spending a bunch of money. You can do the reverse and start saving small amounts that you're not going to miss. So,
But I think the key here is the investing part. We were talking about opportunity cost not too long ago, and when you think about what you're spending money on, and if it's something that you don't care about, I liked what Matt was saying earlier about, and what Stephanie was saying about earlier too, is like, what do you care about? Is this something you care about? And it's only a waste if you're spending it on something that's not important to you, and it's just sort of not conscious spending. And when you think about what you're spending on and then add what you could have made from the investing, I think that's when when you really see like what you're missing. And so I think, you can't, even if you take like this $5 or whatever it is a day and you put it in a regular savings account, I don't care how long you do that for, it's not going to make you a millionaire. It's just not. You have to invest it in something more, and you probably have to do more than that $5. Like Stephanie alluded to at the beginning of the episode, really you're going to be much better off if you start looking for the big things like refinancing your mortgage, negotiating your insurance premiums, finding ways to increase your income. In the long run, and if you really want to make more money over time and have it be more effective, looking for those bigger things. I think, start out with some of the small stuff, but eventually you're going to have to graduate to something else if you really, truly want to take it up a notch and really find that financial freedom.
Yeah, I think it's easy for someone to claim the Latte Factor because it applies to everyone. The thing that doesn't look like the hard thing is to say what Stephanie and you said, which is like, these negotiating these big raises, like that's to a lot of people that's like the hardest thing ever in the world to do, whereas cutting out a latte is, I can do that, yeah. But it's not, it's appealing, and that's why his book sold, and that's why they're giving it out for free every time you buy a house. And
that's
I didn't get one with mine, so I'm a little disappointed.
You made a bad financial decision. You bought this condo. Yeah. Have a book about cutting out lattes.
This was 2008. They were giving out that book like candy at the bank.
Your commission will go a long way for my kid's college education.
But that's the thing, though, Matt. Like what you were saying is because it's easy and people want that one answer. And we were talking to Joe from Stacking Benjamins.
Who?
Joe.
I'm kidding.
Whatever. Anyway, we were talking to him not too long ago, and he told us he actually talked to David Bach, and he was saying that everybody. Do you guys remember this? How he was saying everybody wanted the one thing that they should do, the one thing, and so that's why he wrote Automatic Millionaires, like track your spending and save it instead. And that's where it came up with, and because nobody wants to hear, oh well, you need to refinance your house and then invest the money that you save every month, and nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, no one wants to hear. Go talk to your boss and ask him for more money, or her for more money.
and nobody wants to hear. Nobody wants to hear. Cut out that cell phone bill or cut the cable or whatever. Very few people want to hear that.
Don't buy a new car every 3 years.
Yeah. They want to hear. They do. They want to hear. Well, if you just brown bag it every day, or stop having that latte, you can be a millionaire. Yeah. Magic.
The title of the book's great too.
It is.
Those copies.
And honestly, the idea of like tracking your spending and knowing where your money is going is a good one, and you should know where your money is going, and you should know that your money is doing what you want it to do and helping you accomplish what you want it to do, and you should be aware of that. And I think that's one of the most important.
I will say it's super hard to grasp that concept when you have no money, because I remember I remember being in that spot and going like, just make your money work for you and just make sure it's doing all the right things and just track your spending. Do you know how much people don't like tracking their spending when they have nothing? It's like the last thing I wanted to do was log into Mint and just cry. Like that was, I don't want to do that. But now that I've like, you know, you have to get through that stage, and then once you like just, you know, you just gotta like, I don't know, muscle through it, I guess. And then all of a sudden, like now I look forward to logging into Mint because I'm like, oh man, everything's positive, all these green numbers, like it's great. And oh, now you start to make better decisions with your money because you have more of it. And it's almost like, you know, you're not scrimping and saving and worrying about the latte. Now you're thinking like, oh, I have an extra $5,000. I just put that over here. Just like, you know, it makes things so much easier, and it's hard to say that sort of rhetoric to someone who's broke because it's just not a thing.
Well, I understand that, but at the same time, just saying the important thing, it's just you should be looking at it and saying, is this money doing what I want it to do? I mean, I remember being like flat broke and sitting here going, oh, I cannot cut any more from my budget. There is nothing else that we can do. We're in debt. We don't have any money. We're students. We don't have jobs. We're just living off of student loans, and it's dwindling fast, and it's come to the end of the semester, and we have no more money, and I cannot cut to the bone. And then we actually looked at our spending. And yes, I know that there are plenty of people who are in a position where they're like, no, I cannot cut anymore. But we looked at our spending and we're like, oh, we have cable, you know? Oh, wow. My goodness gracious. And we were looking at it and going, oh, we eat out 4 times a week. And we were looking at it, and yeah, so to a certain extent, just cutting those things out, they weren't going to save our financial situation. They weren't. We needed to get jobs, and we needed to find ways to increase our income. But at the same time, by looking at that and saying, this is where the money is going, and do we want it to go there, and are these things important to us, and are there things that might be more important to us that we should be doing instead?
It just makes you more self-aware of what's going on.
Oh yeah, basically, and I think that's the first step to doing anything, is you have to have that self-awareness. You have to be able to be honest with yourself and say, am I spending this money on stuff that matters to me?
Yeah.
I think that tracking. That tracking part of it is very important, because I can remember when we were first starting out, my wife and I, and you know, we'd be getting down to our last $50 in our checking account every month. We'd be like, you know, we don't really feel like we're doing that much or spending that much. But when we actually started tracking, we figured out the eating out was huge for us. We were spending over, I think, $1,100, $1,200 eating out every month. We're like, yeah, okay, we can cut back several $100 everywhere. That was the problem.
You gold flake on your filet mignon.
Gold flake.
You know what it is? It's like the concept of like death of 1,000 paper cuts. You know, it's not that you go out to eat or you do whatever you're doing. You know, if you're going out to a special restaurant for an anniversary or something, and you drop down $200, $300, whatever, you know that that's going to be a big hit. So you're like, all right, I'm planning for it. I know it's coming, but that's not what kills you most of the time, right? Because that's a special event. It's like you said, Matt, when you go out to lunch every day and then you go, I'm spending $12 on this every day, and then that's just a salad. Then I'm going to get a soda with that. It's like another $2, and then maybe I'm grabbing breakfast in the morning from the food truck across the way, and that's another $4 or $5. And you realize, like, wait a minute, I'm dropping a lot of money every day on things that I don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, it's like our problem is we're eating out all the time, but it's like, but we're eating out all the time at Applebee's, so it's not that bad. Well, when you extrapolate that over a month, you're like, well, that's worse than like the one time at I don't know, Lebec Finn.
Right. Like one nice restaurant a month that the bill might not be so bad as like all the other little things that are killing you throughout the month. You know, and that's I've had credit card bills that look like that, where I know we didn't have any big expenses. You know, but then I look at it and go, how did it get that high? And you see like $10 here, $20 there, maybe $50 there. Okay, you know, you could argue if that's a lot or not, but you know, for me that's gassing up the minivan, so it's not that much. And it's like all these smaller charges, and you go, oh damn, you know, I just thought I was spending $10 here and there, but you know, that's a lot of money now. And I think what this Latte Factor is bringing to light is that you could be doing all these little things that really could be putting you under and you don't realize it.
Yeah, the tracking thing is super important. I remember like signing up for Mint and being like I didn't want to log in because it's depressing, but you do, and then you start to make even if it's not even like you just start making almost unconscious decisions just by looking at it every day, and yeah, I think you mentioned cable. Cable was a really tough one for me because it is a huge expense. I mean, it's ridiculous. And now I'm anti-cable. I could punch cable in the face. But back then, I'm like, this is my life. Cable is everything. What am I going to do? This is before Netflix. This is before Hulu. This is before HBO Now. This is when that was how I don't watch 3, 6, and 10. I'm not going to watch soap operas. I need Breaking Bad. I need, cable shows. I need Comedy Central, and I had to pay $150 for that. That's insane. But then I think technology is also like helping a lot. Now I'm going down the weird road, but like now technology is helping a lot of these big expenses like get cut down. And I think not just like looking at your spending. I think it's also good, but looking at options. There's so many options for things that you think like you're just so one-dimensional in your world, right? So if it is cable, like, did you know HBO Now is a thing? Like, you can pay $15 and have unlimited programming for the rest of time if you wanted to. Just like the coffee thing. Like, did you know you can make your own coffee at home with like this weird gadget that's only like $15? There's this. I got a cold brew coffee maker the other day. I can make huge batches of cold brew and have iced coffee every single morning, and it's super cheap. And no one knows it exists. Like, I'm sure there's people out there that are like, I didn't even know that was a thing I could do. I didn't know I could make my own iced coffee at home. So, it's also expanding your horizons and seeing what's out there as far as technology and just gadgets and things to make your life. Everyone's out there to make your life easier. So I'm sure there's things that'll, that can help you there.
What's interesting, besides the conscious spending on different things, you kind of touch on it a little bit, Matt, but it's like the consciously doing something for yourself and it actually makes it better. If you're making your own coffee, like you could probably do it better, and when you're putting the time into it, you kind of enjoy it more.
Foam art.
If you're making your own food, sometimes that whole experience, once you get the hang of it, it is better than just going out and getting whatever's out there.
Meditative.
Yeah, there's all these benefits to it. So there's that.
Yeah, it's expanding your horizons and just saying like, and that's the thing. I said it earlier. It's like, try something new, but you don't have to try everything new all at once and overload your cerebellum. You try one thing new, and cerebellum. That's a thing in the brain.
Sure.
I knew cerebellum in high school.
She was a minx, let me tell you. But you try one thing, and I think coffee is a good one to start with. And I'm biased because I have a coffee website and I teach people how to make coffee at home.
What's the coffee website?
Starbucks.com.
Forget Starbucks.com.
Yes, we have Mr. Howard Schultz with us.
I was just gonna say, does he have his Starbucks affiliate link ready to go?
Yep.
Sorry, something along the lines of roasty coffee.
That's a super easy one for me because it's like I used to go get coffee every day. I used to, what I used to drink, and I don't like to admit this, but I used to drink a lot of Dunkin' Donuts, extra large, cream and sugar, diabetes foot, nightmare.
You turn on my stomach, Matt.
And you know what? It wasn't until I started having like physical ailments that I had to give it up, and then that was so bad. And then I got a Keurig when I moved into my house after I got my David Bach book. And then I got a French press and like my coffee at home, then I started working from home. So like it was like I wasn't going to go out and get an extra large Dunkin' Donuts when there was a Dunkin' Donuts nowhere near where I lived. And so for me, just by circumstance, I got into coffee, but I think it's an easy thing to try. Try and get an AeroPress. They're $30, and they
even less.
They're even okay. Fine. My affiliate link says they're $30.
You can find special deals where at times they're a little less.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a French press at IKEA for like $12. My dad has one. You can buy beans locally. You can buy beans, even at Whole Foods that are pretty cheap, that are really, freshly roasted, and you can make awesome coffee. Now, if you want to do lattes, the only thing is like lattes are just coffee with milk. That's the only thing. That's all they are.
With hot milk, right? Or foamy milk.
Isn't there like steam frothy something happening?
Up with espresso, but if you're comparing it to Starbucks, it's regular coffee with a load of milk. I'm sorry for using that. Sorry.
We're allowed to use the word milk on this.
That's right. Okay, milk all you want.
You're hitting buttons on me. So, but yeah, you can put a stick of spearmint gum in a cup of coffee with a crap ton of milk, and you have a peppermint latte.
But the gum costs $12. Remember?
Oh, whatever. Yeah, 12.
Just put mouthwash.
It's been a long time since I bought gum.
It's funny because I think I went through like a similar growth cycle through coffee where I too was like D&D every day. And then I went to Starbucks, and I'm like, this is a little bit better. And then, it got to the point where it's like all those other places, like I just can't like drink it for the most part.
No.
It's like I'm spoiled. I can't go to a diner and order coffee anymore. It's just not as good as what I make at home.
I know.
But it's so much better than when I make it.
Yeah, and it's not hard. It's not like cooking. It's not like, people think, well, I don't know how to cook, and just going to go out to eat all the time. And I'm like, yeah, cooking's not easy. It's a skill. And
but even cooking is a skill where like you can master a few things pretty quickly.
You can.
To save a lot of money or whatever, and the food will be better than what you're probably grabbing out there,
But coffee's one thing. Like, you just master that one thing, and you've saved $5 a day, You can't, like
you invest like $20 on a good thermos and some good coffee, and you're set for like the day.
Yeah, longer than that.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I have a thermos, and that sucker keeps the coffee hot.
What thermos do you have?
Thermos.
Oh, it's made by the actual brand.
Yeah.
Where's mine?
It's actually a really good one, but.
All right, so I have one called a Yeti. It's it's expensive. It's like $30. It's stainless steel, but it'll keep your coffee hot for 3 hours. I'm not kidding.
No, this one will too.
No, mine will.
Hey. Do you have an affiliate link for that, Matt?
We've got a thermos.
Let me send you my affiliate link. It's $30.
But that initial investment will pay for itself.
Well, I also work in the pool industry, and we deal with this a lot, which is.
You ever swim in coffee?
You've given me a new goal.
I just thought I'd compare it. Put
No, you've given me a new thing to strive for. So for me, like, people always asking me about these salt generators in swimming pools, and I always say to them, well, it's an upfront cost. Like, you are going to spend more money to install the salt system, but over time, it's going to save you, because it's sort of like it's the same thing as the latte thing, which is like, if you invest in a French press and you'll invest in like good beans or something, you are going to make great coffee way better than what you've had in the past, instead of buying every single day, and then the cost of coffee keeps going up and up and up. Well, and the cost of like the brewing equipment keeps going up and up, and Starbucks has overhead, and their prices keep going up and up because they have 50,000 stores across Asia. So it's like, and that's probably not even that many. So it's that upfront cost that you endure, so that you can. It's an investment. It's plain and simple as that is. It's an investment in anything. You can invest in like a good saucepan, or you can invest in, an exercise weight.
Instead of going to the gym.
I don't know what people use to work out. You can invest in a ShamWow. I don't know. A shake weight. There you go. I know what that is.
So, tell me something, Matt. Let's go in a little different direction here. So, you said you were in debt, and now you're in a point where, like, you're a little cushioned. How does the difference between those two things feel?
Wow. Okay. Man, I'm not a good person to ask, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't stress out about money. I never have. So even when I was like really, really broke, I was not stressed. I didn't feel any. I mean, I can tell you that it feels really good to go to a restaurant and order, the extra drink and not feel terrible for ordering the extra drink, or ordering an appetizer and not feel like, well, I can only order now I can go to a restaurant, and it feels really good to just order whatever's on the menu, whatever has tickled my fancy at that particular moment, instead of like, no, I have to get this because it's the cheapest thing on the menu. Like, I have to go, when I'm at Applebee's why did I say that? I don't go to Applebee's.
I don't like you.
Yeah.
It must be their coffee.
When I go to Fridays, I'm sorry. When I go to Fridays, I always tend to go for the cheaper Guy Fieri, whatever he recommends, meal.
Poppers.
Yeah. Deep fried butter bombs, or whatever he offers. Whatever's cheap. So, so now I can. So for me, it's more like it's like I don't have it's freedom. It's like I'm not stressed. I'm not less stressed or more stressed. I am just like, when I go out, I can just order whatever. I can give someone my credit card and not care and not like worry.
Would you say it's like a little bit of a weight off your shoulders, maybe?
Yeah, but it's more of like a social thing. It's not even like personal, because again, I'm the worst to ask because I was never really stressed about it. I always thought, like, I always really kind of landed backwards into money somehow, and just always had it, but like never enough. But when I would go out to restaurants, I'd be like, okay, well, I can only order, this one thing because I only had, $10 or whatever. Now it's like I can order what I want, and I can do what I want whenever I want to do it, except, own a Learjet or,
Right.
3
Not
Learjets.
that you're swimming in money, but you don't have to worry. You might be building pools, but
But no, I think you make a good point.
you're not worried about every little thing.
No, that's really it. It's like the latte factor isn't a factor. Like, I can go to Starbucks and be like, you can buy this whole place lattes. I don't care. I do care, because that guy doesn't deserve one. He's
That adds up every day.
got an oxygen tank.
Yeah, I mean, I think that latte factor is going to be more of a factor for people who are trying to get out of debt, or they're trying to, have some big savings goal they're savings towards. And it might be part of the reason why you're doing the latte factor, so you can get to that point where you have that buffer and you don't feel like, oh, I can't ever buy anything. Maybe you can buy that coffee once or twice a week now, and instead of, whatever. So
Yeah, but it's going to take
it's a tool.
Yeah, it's going to take you a year of following the latte factor so that you can buy another year's worth of lattes, right?
Well, see, my point was to get to, the difference between being in debt and then having that cushioned freedom like you have now, Matt. I mean, it can be a huge weight on people that gets lifted. So sometimes taking that sacrifice now and saying, you know what, there's a bunch of things that I'm doing that maybe, look, I shouldn't be doing it. I'm going a little too far. And you know what, if I could get ahead and get some things right and do some other things too, maybe ask for that raise, get a better job, and all those other things.
Well, I got to bring it back
for it now.
I know, but I got to bring it back to Ramit because, he was the guy who was saying, like, no, the latte factor is dumb, and it should be the make more money factor. Like, go make more money.
You know what? I hear you, and I don't disagree, but I don't think it's always as easy as that for everybody.
I think it is.
Well, no.
And
So
everyone makes it hard.
Well, so when I was in debt, I did like the pick your top 3 financial priorities, and my first one was get out of debt, and then the next 2 were like buy healthy food at Whole Foods and travel to the West Coast and see my family. Like those are my top 3 things. So debt was on the list, which meant it bumped out other stuff that I couldn't spend money on. So if you're in debt, it should be your number 1 priority, and then you have some small ones underneath. But I couldn't have done it unless I made it like my priority, and so that I could look at every other expense around that. So that's how I got out of debt.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem like they need to be mutually exclusive. I think you can focus on the big things. Look at your mortgage and see if you can refinance. Look at increasing your income. Look at all those big things, and probably do those things first. But also, why not look at the smaller things? Look at things that aren't important to you that you can cut out of your budget.
Yeah.
I have this magazine subscription that I haven't read the magazine in 2 years, but I'm paying $20 a year for it. Or why am I still paying that?
Yeah. Penthouse is
for
expensive.
all those. why am I paying these fees? So look for those small wins, things you can just dump right away and go from there. Do both. Do big things and small things.
Yeah, it's a good way to hit it from both ends. That's what she said.
Wow.
All right. So I think, you know what? We've really up on an hour here anyway. I'm not cutting it off because of what we're talking about here.
I could stand to hear more about Peter's subscription to Penthouse.
Never happened.
I also want to just point out, you're asking about like the latte factor from a guy drinking wine with a like deer head mounted in the back of a cabin right now.
Well, deer heads, they're a dime a dozen. But we've done a good job of talking about the latte factor here, and whether it'll actually make you a millionaire or not. I think one important thing that maybe we didn't go into entirely is just that even if you cut something out, you still have to actually save that money. Some people will cut something out and then they just spend more somewhere else. So that's kind of important to keep in mind. And something like an app like Acorns kind of maybe keeps that on tap, that you're always putting that money in investing. What we like to do here is just kind of close up with a final word. So we'll go around. And Tom, if you could start us off on final word on whether cutting out coffee will make you a millionaire.
Okay. Here in Canada, going to Tim Hortons is pretty much a national pastime. So it's there's a lot of people that take that $5 expense every day. Using the latte calculator, $5 a day at 6% is $300,000 in 40 years, and it doesn't matter if you're broke or if you're doing just fine. $300,000 is going to help you out no matter what.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. How about you, Peter? What's your final word on whether or not cutting out coffee will make you a millionaire?
Well, Tom just stole my latte calculator finish there, so I'm just going to say.
You got so nice.
But no, I'm just going to say identify the small things that you're spending money on every day. It doesn't have to be a latte. It can be anything you want. It can be a penthouse like a Matt. It can be bottled water. It can be cigarettes. Whatever it is. Identify those small things in your budget by tracking, and then pick 1 or 2 things that are the worst in your budget and try to cut down on them. If you don't cut them out completely, find ways to make them more affordable, and then actually take the time to set up a savings account like Digit or something like Acorns and actually invest that money and watch those small savings amounts add up over time.
And Miranda, your final word.
Yeah, it's really just all about, what I say all the time is figuring out what really matters. What are your core values? What do you want your money to be doing? And then figuring out whether it's actually doing that. Are you spending it according to your priorities? And I think that's basically the underlying theme of all of this tracking your spending and everything is where is it going, and are you actually spending according to your priorities? And that once you figure that out, then you can start making a plan to do something else.
And Stephanie, what's your final word?
I would say don't rely on your willpower to give up lattes every single day. Just do something you can do once. That's a big win, like negotiating or refinancing your mortgage or cutting out a bill or negotiating down a bill, but just do something that's a bigger win that's one time. You're going to save a lot more money.
And Matt, your final word?
That's
an interesting one.
Yeah, it's not a word. It's a
onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia, yeah. So I think you should try to kill your own deer and then drink its blood. No. I mean, that'll save you money.
On deer blood.
Because you're drinking deer blood. Yeah.
Store-bought deer blood's really expensive.
It's got a lot of caffeine, from what I've been told by Wicked. So for me, I guess my final word is... I don't,
It's under 2 hours, I think.
No, because I can talk for another 3 hours.
I was just gonna say you were kind of quiet there.
Yeah. I think you should. I'm gonna focus on the coffee things just because that's my new thing right now. And if you've read David Bach's book and you're trying to cut out lattes, but you really, really like lattes, and maybe what's happening is you're cutting out those lattes, and then you're like spending money on other things to replace those lattes that might be more expensive and you don't even realize it. Sort of like when you're an alcoholic and you go to AA meetings and everyone there is just drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes or just replacing the habit with something else. That could be something that's going on. So I think it's a matter of change one habit. Change one, look at your spending and say, you know what, I spend too much money on cigarettes. I'm going to stop smoking. Or I'm going to switch to those super ultra cancerous e-cigarettes, or I drink too much, so for a month I'm going to go and try not to drink, or drink a lot less and see what happens that month, see how I feel. Maybe it's I drink coffee, I go to Starbucks every day, I buy these lattes. You know what, I'm not going to buy $4 lattes anymore, I'm going to make my own coffee at home, or just do one thing. Just pick the one thing, whatever that is that you do, that you think that when you look at your spending and you find out, like, wow, I spend a lot of money on that every month. Just change it, and just change it for a month. Give yourself like a 30-day challenge and see if it makes a difference for you. And if it does, and you like the new change, you're gonna stick to it. And this is gonna happen. You're not gonna go back. You're not gonna like the new thing and then go, this thing sucks, I'm gonna go back to the old thing. If you like it so much, you'll go that route. And I think it's all about exploring these new changes, trying new things, give yourself these 30-day challenges, and see what happens.
All right, Matt. Let's tell everybody here about roastycoffee.com.
So speaking of the latte thing,
nice.
I have a website. It's called roastycoffee.com. It's ROASTY coffee.com. I don't know how to spell coffee. So it's about it's all using videos, and it's teaching people how to make coffee at home. So making good, slow coffee, taking your time and appreciating the art of brewing and appreciating like the time it takes to make coffee, and then also enjoying coffee. I think coffee is something that in America, especially, we take for granted. We just it's like drink your big mugs and get out the door because you got work. I think people need to seriously take their coffee seriously. And I was like, already walked into that. And I think they need to just have a really good experience with it and almost treat it like it's a newfound, experience. Every single time I drink a cup of coffee now, it's like drinking something new. I'm drinking something different. I'm tasting the world in my belly. It's
here's your tagline.
Taste bugs in your belly? I want to taste bugs in my belly.
Roastycoffee.com. Tasting the world in your belly. The more you know.
Where science meets caffeine.
Yeah. I think it's really the site. I actually, it's all about appreciation and slowing down. It's not really. The coffee is just an avenue for that. I think it's something that we all do every day, and if we just slowed down and made it ourselves and enjoyed the it's like watching a master at making soba noodles. Like, it takes hours, and it's just a bowl of noodles, but it's the most impressive thing, and it's like you enjoy that bowl of noodles much more because you knew what it took to create that. Why is everyone laughing?
I'm with you. It's like it's the meditative zone you're in.
I haven't talked in a long time. I don't have a podcast anymore. So.
And Stephanie, can you tell our audience a little bit more about art2self.com?
Yeah, Art to Self is a daily art affirmation newsletter, so I send out an inspirational note and cartoon every single day. And that's it.
Awesome.
Taste the world in your eyeballs.
To the point.
I don't have my elevator pitch down yet.
long elevator.
Still, it's a work in progress.
Matt, Stephanie, thank you both for joining us tonight and livening up our discussions here. And until next week, be good with your money. Good night.
Thanks for joining us on the Money Mastermind Show. Get more information at moneymastermindshow.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Google+.